Hi friends, welcome back to my training series. I hope you're doing well and I hope you're hanging in there. Hey, a big thank you to all those of you who wrote encouraging notes after last week's video where I shared the funk I've been in. This week I've been feeling generally better and more optimistic. I also had a CT scan, so I have some updates to share with you as I recap the week. Let's get into it. This week on Monday I had a rest day, and Monday morning I visited my chiropractor for my every 4-week regular visit. And someone had suggested that I mention to my chiropractor the pain I've been feeling in my chest while running, because it was possible that instead of it being a lung issue, maybe it was something related to my ribs. So he pressed and prodded, and considering that he could really easily both press on the front as well as on the back ribs in order to induce discomfort, he believed that the pain was very likely something that in the tissues around the ribs and not necessarily in my lungs. So he adjusted me, and then he used his little activator, spring-loaded, I don't know what to call it, I guess it's called an activator, on my ribs to see if it would help. And I think that this might explain the pain, even though while I still think that there's something happening in my lungs because of the coughing and breathing problems that I have been having since Cocodona. So we'll see how it goes. On Tuesday, my running assignment was 75 minutes of easy running with some fartlek-style speed play. Running felt okay, still slower than I wish, and my chest didn't bother me very much. I ran a total of 6 miles in 72 minutes. And in the afternoon, I took a break from work to go get the CT scan. The whole procedure took just a few minutes. I was in and out really quick. And then after work, I did my weekly yoga session over Zoom. On Wednesday, I was assigned 40 minutes of either rowing or running, and a strength and mobility workout. I worked out with the indoor rower, and then I did the mobility and strength workout. On Thursday, my assignment was LT intervals with 4 times 8 minutes hard and 4 minutes easy. I went to my usual hill loop for this workout, and I was happy that while it was difficult, I didn't totally die. I finished with a total of 7.7 miles and almost 1,100 feet of gain in 88 minutes. After my workout, I went back to the chiropractor for a follow-up adjustment. The chest pain that I've been complaining about really hadn't been bothering me very much since the last visit. It had already improved quite a bit. And then also on Thursday, I heard back about the CT scan. The doctor said that the test results were normal and that no acute abnormalities were noted. However, minimal ground glass opacities were seen. And so I've been referred to a pulmonologist for further discussion and evaluation. On Friday, I was again assigned 40 minutes of either rowing or running and a strength and mobility workout. I worked out with the indoor rower again, and then I did the mobility and strength workout. On Saturday, my assignment was 3 to 3.5 hours of running, and the plan was Leah and I would head down to Tiger Mountain again for some vert. As we were getting ready to leave, I started to feel a little bit unwell, and then I vomited, and then Leah also wasn't feeling very well, so we just decided to skip it and do the long run on the next day instead. My assignment was 90 minutes of easy running, but instead it was decided to make up for Saturday's missed run. We didn't have time to drive to Tiger Mountain, so instead we went to Lord Hill. I did some repeats on a segment that climbs from the river as low as you can go in the park up to one of the highest parts of the park. It was hot outside and I worked hard, but I was in a good mood and I enjoyed the workout. I ran for just over 3 hours, completing 11.8 miles with almost 2,300 feet of gain. Overall, it was a better week than last, at least mentally. I finished the week running 25.5 miles in a total of 5 hours and 47 minutes. Okay, let's jump into some Q&A. Thank you to those of you who sent in questions this week. Let's start with our friend Chad from the YouTube channel See Chad Run. Chad is training for his first 100-miler, and while he's no stranger to running with a headlamp, he does ask for night running tips. Chad, I'm super excited for you to be running your first 100-miler. I really can't wait to hear about how it goes and to watch your video. My suggestion for night running is to use both a headlamp and a waist lamp. I wear a headlamp for seeing the trail markers up ahead in the distance, and then the waist lamp shines the ground in front of my feet. You don't really need to have them very bright, but I do think that the shadows from the waist lamp are so much easier to see to help you prevent kicking rocks and roots. It's just so much better with the waist lamp. I think that having the better illumination helps with give you more confidence while you're running at night. And so a lot of runners will slow down at night, but I think if you have a good illumination strategy, you can continue to move at a decent pace throughout the night. So I suggest headlamp, waist lamp combo and getting comfortable with that. as you get ready for your run. The Kogala system is quite a popular waist lamp system, but I think A, it's unnecessarily bright, and B, it's unnecessarily complicated. So I prefer the waist lamps from Ultraspire. They are compact and self-contained, and one battery lasts all night for me. But I also carry an extra battery just in case, but the battery is really small. So I use the Lumen 850, but the Lumen 600 is also quite popular. I put a link to Ultraspire's waist lamps in the description below. Neil picks up on one of my comments from last week where I wasn't feeling a run, so I didn't go. He asks about instead going for a hike or walking to a cafe. Hey, Neil, those are great ideas. I think in the times when I'm considering calling it off, part of it is I'm just so tired and I want to go back to sleep. But I think at the same time, if the thing that I'm avoiding is intervals, maybe just going out and doing a hike wouldn't be a bad move. So yeah, thanks a lot for the suggestions. I do like hearing ideas like this, so I'll try that in the future. Kathleen had a problem during a run on the Tahoe Rim Trail where her Garmin InReach Mini 2 was really slow to update for her crew and would sometimes show her miles out on the trail when she was almost finishing a segment. She wonders if I've experienced that or had any tips. Kathleen, it is really frustrating when satellite trackers are slow to update. I think that's unfortunately almost part of it. We have had similar experiences. I know that Leah often doesn't totally trust what the trackers are saying. But for those of you who are not totally familiar with how the Garmin InReach system works, you do have a choice about the update interval depending on your subscription level. With the cheapest subscription can be set between 10 minutes and 4 hours, but you pay 10 cents for every tracking point sent. The middle subscription supports as fast as tracking points every 10 minutes, and the most expensive one supports intervals as often as every 2 minutes. What I usually do is sign up for the most expensive plan just for the most frequent updates, and then I suspend the plan when I'm done with the run until I need it again. But even if you have the most up-to-date or the most frequently updating plan, that doesn't necessarily change your experience, Kathleen. And even with more frequent intervals, it's very possible that the position updates won't be received by Garmin satellites, and you might still be left with this problem of your crew not knowing exactly where you are. I think what the Garmin InReach really wants is for its antenna to be pointing up. And so I try to put mine on my shoulder, and if I can, try to have it leaning forward so that the antenna is as upward pointing as possible. I know in the past I've seen people have their InReach Mini like inside their pack, where it might be sitting sideways or might even be pointing down. Who knows when it's inside the pack. So I think one strategy is to make sure that the antenna is pointing as upward as possible. But I just don't think there's a very foolproof way to make sure the tracker is always up to date, because even if you have the antenna pointing up and even if you have the most frequent interval subscription, trees and hills can still get in the way and slow the data transmission. So therefore, I think it's good to have the InReach Mini there, but to have a backup strategy for communication if it's available to you. So if you're in a place like Tahoe where texting is possible, it might make sense just to send a quick text to your crew as you're a mile or two out, just to say, hey, you're almost there. But yeah, and during a lot of the races that use satellite tracking, they use spot trackers. And I think that those that have an update interval of 5 minutes, and their antenna is sort of integrated into the little puck-sized thing pointing up. And if it's possible to get access to one of those for an event, that might be worth renting or something. So I wish you luck on your next big adventure. Thank you all for your questions this week. If you have a question you'd like me to talk about in next week's video, leave it in the comments below. And I'll let you guys know in future updates, the more I learn about the CT scan. I actually don't have my pulmonologist appointment until September, so I will be coughing for weeks to come yet. I really hope you all have a really good week, and we'll talk to you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.